Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production.
Joining us today, played at the University of Illinois for 4 years, went against Michigan in one of the classic Final Four matchups ever. He was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks and then played 10 years professionally, including 7 years overseas before moving into broadcast. A true legend. We want to welcome to the Hoop Dreams podcast, Flyin Illini alum. Get this, Agee, Emmy Award winner. We can't leave that out.
Can't leave that out.
Published author, host of the Bardo's Breakdown. Please welcome to the show, Illinois great, Flyin Illini great, Stephen Bardo. I'm Will Gates. That's my dog.
Arthur Agee, man. We want to welcome you to the show, man. Appreciate you making the time for us, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. I appreciate that intro. Love being on with you guys, man. We're brothers.
Yes.
We brothers in hoop.
Yes.
So we got brothers all over the place. So I'm glad to be on with you guys.
Steve, we start every show like this, man. We ask, I guess, when was the first time you saw Hoop Dreams, and do you remember where you were and who were you with?
Rick Tellender was a good, a guy that he and I kind of hit it off. And Rick kind of gave me a heads up that it was coming down the pipeline. I think the first time I saw it, I was here in Chicago, but I don't exactly remember what place I was in, but I remember seeing it and I was mesmerized by you guys' story, about your toughness, about the realness of the west side of Chicago, growing up, some of the adversity that you guys face. It was tremendous, man, because you guys represented what a lot of basketball players go through. And the on-court part was cool because y'all could hoop. And that goes without saying. The off-court stuff was, you guys were kind of the forebearers for all of this Up in Smoke podcast, all these different media opportunities that have come to basketball players. You guys were the first ones to really kind of pave the way. So I don't remember exactly where I was, but I remember like it was last night. It was eye-opening for me.
That's crazy.
First of all, man, I just got to put this out here first. Man, it's because of you and that team, the Dicky V Flyin Illini, that really turned not just the city, but the state of Illinois around to, man, y'all have folks hooping in the wintertime, shoveling snow, trying to get out there, man. That was amazing. I'm just like, these dudes just don't, well, y'all probably did know how special you all were.
We didn't. And it never gets old. I'm telling you, I didn't, you guys understand, man, how focused you guys are when you're playing.
Yeah.
You just kind of locked in and you see stuff, but you don't really know until you get outside of it. It was incredible. So it never gets old.
Well, man, our show is still a bit different because typically when guests come on, they don't know we go down this track, but our track is we want to know about you. Like, what's your origin story, man? Where did you grow up at? Did you grow up in Illinois? Did you grow up in another state? How did you get here? And growing up, what? Because I went on your thing, man. I checked you out. What was it like growing up in the 70s? Give us some of that history there.
Yeah, I was born in Henderson, Kentucky. Soon moved to Carbondale, Illinois after that, where my dad, Dr. Harold Bardo, played college basketball in the late 50s, early 60s. And he became a professor in educational psychology. Then he became interim athletic director at SIU twice. He was faculty rep to the NCAA for 36 years. And I guess about 7-8 years ago, he retired from a 55-year distinguished career of service. And so, basketball was our family business. My older brother, Craig, played at Indiana on the national championship team with Zeke, Isaiah Thomas, back in 81. My sister played junior college basketball at John A. Logan Community College, real close to Carbondale. And my mom had a mean jump shot whenever she would come out on the court. She never really played officially, but she could hold her own. So I was the baby of the family, and it was the family business. Growing up in Carbondale was a lot different from a lot of my college teammates who grew up in similar situations as you guys up here in the city. Mm-hmm. I had an ideal childhood. Didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Could run free in the small town of Carbondale, lived on Southern Illinois University's campus, used to see Larry Bird come through there, Maurice Cheeks with West Texas State, Xavier McDaniels from Wichita State, all these great players that came through the Missouri Valley Conference. I grew up watching them and wanting to be like them, and was very fortunate enough to be able to play at the University of Illinois.
Special there, man. I can't even imagine, as an athlete, seeing these guys come through like that. Even though we grew up in Chicago, we didn't get to see the Mark Aguirres walk through there. I mean, we saw them on TV because of WGN, but the mere fact you seeing all these greats and legends come through like that, man, had to just be mind-blowing. Did you know that these were the greats?
I didn't know, guys. You just know where you are as a youngster. You just know your area. And so when these teams would come through, like Aubrey Sherrard, Xavier McDaniels, Antoine Carr. Wichita State was top 5 in the country when they came to SIU and played. So I saw them. I saw Larry Bird when they were undefeated, number 1 in the country. Carl Hicks, Chicago native, was his teammate on Indiana State. I saw that game when Bird made plays down the stretch to escape with a 3-point victory. I mentioned Maurice Cheeks, Chicago native, West Texas State University, came in doing his thing. Hershey Hawkins, Bradley University. And so I knew I wanted to be like these guys, because every time they play on the arena floor, I'm on there after the game and they're letting me shoot and mess around and dream and do these things. And SIU had their own great players that came through when I was coming up. So it was really a breeding ground for me. And Carbondale is still kind of a hotbed of basketball activity in that part of the state. And so, I was always challenged. And then you go and play at the rec center, go outside and play on the asphalt. And then at night you could go in and watch some of the best college basketball ever. So Carbondale was a basketball incubator, and I'm kind of the prodigal son of the area. And all the older heads, older cats, they used to pour into me. They used to beat my behind. When I was acting up, they put me back in line. So I had a very ideal, if you want to become a basketball player like I did and stay in the business like I have through broadcasting, I had an ideal upbringing in Carbondale.
Wow.
Now, Steven, being in Carbondale, the basketball in that area, what was you hearing about the basketball in Chicago? And when was the first time you went to Chicago to play outdoors, like on the courts out there?
You know what? We used to get the Street and Smith magazine. That was the basketball Bible. And I used to like, when it came out, I'd go get it. And I'm looking at all the Chi-Town cats who were in my age group. And the first time I really got really exposed to Chi-Town ball was at the BC All-American camp in Rensselaer, Indiana.
Really?
And so I believe Nick Anderson was there, Benji, Ben Wilson was there, Lo Hamilton was at that camp, Ken Redfield, Randy Doss was at that camp. It was a bunch of cats from Chi was there. And back then, guys, I don't know how you all did it when you went to these All-American camps or whatever. The guys who were from the same area or from the same region, you just congregate. So, there was only 1 or 2 other cats that were from Southern Illinois, and they were kind of square, and they, wanted to stay by themselves. Right. I went with the cats from Gary, Indiana, Chicago, because that's just how I am. I just wanted to meet cats and hang out with them. So I hung out with Lowell and Randy Doss and Kid Redfield in particular. Me and Ken and Randy were really tight, got tight through that camp and really maintained contact. And so then I came up in a summer before my senior year, and we had a practice with the Prairie State Games. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the Prairie State Games. And so I knew I was going to be playing with Nick. I knew I was going to be playing with Kendall. And then me and Larry Smith came from Southern Illinois, came up, and we did some stuff the year before my senior year. So I believe it was either there was games at Chicago State and IIT. And so, they kind of let us jump in and play a little bit and all that. And that was my first experience. And I was mind blown because it's the summertime. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. Yes. And them gyms were packed. I mean, the ladies were looking good. They tried to get chosen. I was just like, oh, what is going on up here? I don't know what this is, but I'm digging this. So I was like a kid in a candy shop, man, in the Chi in the summertime. I love coming up here. My teammates would bring me up. So that was kind of my first experience, right? The year before I got to Illinois, I came up and we did some stuff with Prairie State Games and we kind of hung out a little bit. And man, I was like, I need all of this right here. So that was my first experience.
I love it. I heard you say earlier that basketball was the family business. And but who put that ball in your hand? Because I remember my brother grabbed me and said, "We going to the court. This is what you're going to do." Who grabbed you? Was it dad? Was it your brother? Your mom with the jump shot? Who grabbed you?
You know what? No one had to grab me because everybody around me was hooping. And so, I just fell in line. Yeah. I was like, okay, y'all hooping. Y'all look like y'all having a blast. Let me get in. And my sister was 5 years older. And my brother was 6 years older. So we had other people who weren't blood, but they were blood, if you know what I mean, that were closer to my age, that were Avery, Henry, and Todd Bryson would come scoop me up and we go hoop. And, they would wear me out because they were a year or two older than me, but they kept wearing me out. And my dad said, son, keep going back. Because it's going to be one day where you're going to be giving the ass whipping. You're not going to be taking them.
That's right.
He said, just keep going back. I promise you're going to be on the other end of it. And that's what happened. So I was just kind of born into a family. Like my parents were really smart and they understood this. They said, if we can get a carrot on our kids, what they meant is if we could get something that they really love, we could get them in class. Because if you don't go to class, you don't do well on your grades, you can't hoop. And they were unequivocal about that. And my old man, my parents used to lay hands on us.
Old school.
And not in the biblical way, but like if you were messing up, you got that ass tapped. And if they said you don't do well in school, you can't hoop, what am I going to do? I fell in line. So I did well in school because I wanted to hoop. School was a way to hoop for me. And I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to admit that because a lot of times you guys understand, especially with black boys, young black boys, man, we got all this energy. We want to express ourselves and the classroom situation is confining.
Yes.
And unless you got a dynamic teacher that makes it good to you, I hated school.
Absolutely.
I didn't like it. And I went to school so I could hoop. And that was my reality.
Hey, Steven, that's so crazy. I what you just said, I painted that picture in Hoop Dreams. Like that was me. Like I was like, man, I could do the work and all that, but I just don't like school like that. Like I come to school to, like Will said, hang out with your friends, see the girls, and eat lunch with your boys, and then go to practice.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, you're absolutely right.
No, I totally agree. And we're in the era now where we can be real about this stuff. Before, if I said this 20 years ago, man, people would be killing me right now. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But if we're not real about the situation, how can we help our young brothers and sisters coming behind us? We can't. So we got to be real. We got to make the necessary changes.
Right. Especially now in this social media. But I want to hold up on that social media because is there an age, not necessarily to kill a kid's hoop dreams, but at what age do we actually begin to be honest with these prospective athletes if they got the talent to compete on any of the levels, whether it's NIA all the way up to Division I?
Be honest with them as soon as we possibly can. I think we have a softness in our society that we've allowed to creep in. There was nothing wrong with our grandparents and our parents laying down the law. And sometimes it stings when you hear things. It's like, man, I really wanted this, but you may not be good enough. Doesn't mean you can't do something else. It just means that in order to reach this level of college basketball or NBA is incredibly hard. And so it's no knock against you if you're not going to thrive in that situation. Let's try to find where you will thrive.
Right.
And I think the sooner that those discussions can be had, the better off it is. But again, guys, remember, sometimes you're going against parents who are trying to live vicariously through their children. And that's where the disconnect comes, where they don't want to necessarily tell the truth because they don't want to tell the truth themselves about them living through their kids. So it's a touchy thing, but I think, as soon as you can tell kids, if you get an honest opinion, you get somebody to watch you play 3 or 4 times and say, look, you know what? I think you can play at the D2 level, D3 level, NAIA. It's great basketball. You got great experiences. You can get a quality education from these institutions as well. You may not have 15,000. You may have 1,500, 2,500, 5,000 people, but you're gonna get that experience because at the end of the day, guys, what's been your best teacher? Mine's been basketball, hands down.
Absolutely.
It's helped me in every aspect of my life.
Man, I remember when I first got on college campus, one of the greatest advices I've got, and I carry it with me to the day, through basketball. My college coach, Kevin O'Neill, said, listen, Will, man, it was great recruiting you, but now it's your responsibility to stay here. Rocked my world.
Wow.
Rocked my world. Because I thought recruiting and being up there were going to be the same. But it ain't the same. It ain't the same. Recruitment is different.
It ain't the same.
It ain't the same. It's different. He said, hey, man, I showed you the red carpet, but guess what? Now the carpet ain't got no more color on it. You gotta make it happen again. But speaking of college, man, we want to jump into college recruiting because when you started being recruited, I mean, you had all the camps. What were the colleges? Who were you looking at and who was looking at you?
Well, growing up in Carbondale, man, we're just, we're really close to Kentucky. So I wanted to play at Kentucky. I was crazy about the Kentucky Wildcats. And so I really wanted that was my dream school. Illinois fans hate it when they hear that, but it's the real deal. That was my dream school. That's where I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I loved Louisville because Denny Crum's teams with Daryl. Dr. Duncanstein. What was his name?
Daryl
Griffin. That's it. The McCray brothers, Milt Wagner, all those guys, man.
Yeah.
So I liked Kentucky and Louisville. But I got recruited heavily by Ohio State, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Illinois, Northwestern, Texas, Kansas,
Damn,
and USC. And then Kentucky came late after I committed, and I wasn't going to change my commitment. So, but yeah, I was very fortunate, man. I had a nice group of schools that were coming at me pretty hard.
Now was your father? Yeah, I was going to ask you, was your dad? How much was he involved in your recruiting, choosing a school?
You know what? He did a hell of a job because he let me make my decision. But what he did do was, I'm not going to tell you the school because he did this to all of them. He said, listen, Lana, you and Stephen leave the room. That's my mom's name. He said, y'all leave the room for a second. And so when I went my junior year after our Final Four, and I see teammates driving trucks and cars, and I'm the starting point guard, I go into the office and I'm like, yo, I ain't stupid. Where's mine at? And so one of my coaches said, son, close the door and sit down. He said, you remember that time when we came into your house and your dad told you and your mom to get up and leave? You know what he told us? He said, don't pay Stephen a dime because he's not going to owe you shit. He's going to get his degree. He's going to move through this situation. He's not going to owe you all a dime. If he ever asks you for any money, tell him to call home. That's exactly what that coach told me. And I said, thanks, coach, and got up and walked out the door.
Wow.
because I ain't going against what my dad said.
That's
my dad told each
crazy.
one of them.
Right.
He said, if he comes and asks you for anything, he ain't going to owe y'all nothing. And he was adamant about that. And so, and when I heard, when I got the story relayed, I was like, oh, all right, I'm good. If my old man said I'm good, you know?
I'm good then.
So
you got to respect that though, man. That's real there.
Yeah.
Especially because, listen, we heard the stories too. I mean, at one point, people were saying, hey, the University of Illinois is like the Syracuse, you know, of the Midwest. You know, it was, so, you know, and we used to see the cats come back home. You know, he's like, man, that's a nice little long drive from University of Illinois, and you home almost every weekend. How you making that happen?
That's right. Yeah.
Steven, what were some of the schools that you took actually visits on?
I went to Ohio State, Michigan State, Illinois, Northwestern, and Notre Dame. Don't ask me why I went to Notre Dame, man. It had some kind of pull on me as a shorty, man. Because when you watch like Notre Dame football on television back in the day, man, it was crazy. And then Notre Dame basketball was good. You know, when I was really young, it was really good. And so I just had this curiosity. I should have gone to Texas or USC like my dad was telling me to go.
See, you could have had your afro like David Rivers.
But I'll share a funny story with you guys on my recruiting visit. So me and Kendall Gill go to Michigan State, and I don't know if you guys remember Anthony Pendleton from Flint, Michigan. So the three of us are on the trip together, and they bring us on the big football weekend where Michigan comes in and plays Michigan State. Michigan beat the brakes off Michigan State, 31-0. But I don't know if y'all been to Michigan State. Michigan State, oh my gosh, they got some cold eds up in that piece. So we hanging out.
Went there.
We go to a club. When we go in the club, y'all, it's about 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's about 30-something degrees. Argument jumps off. Gun goes off. Everybody runs out of the club. It's about 2 a.m. The temperature dropped about 35 degrees. It's 5 below zero. We come out the club, and I'm like, bump the gun, bro. Where is the car? I'm a country boy. I don't know nothing about this. What is going on? Where did this cold come from? I told Kendall, I was like, yo, man, I ain't going to Michigan State. It's too damn cold up here, man. And I went to Illinois. I told that story on national television. Izzo was like, man, did you have to share that story, man? I was like, yeah, I got to share it. It's the truth. Yeah, man. So I had some good stories, man. Wow. Probably not as good as yours, but that was pretty good.
No, that's good there. That's good.
That's
there. You're like, hey, I ain't feeling that one at all. So man, you hit these visits, you decide on the University of Illinois. What was it about the school? Because we've had a lot of former Illini players on the podcast. What was it about the school? Was it Coach Henson? Was it, Coach Collins? What was it about the school that drew you there?
That's a great question. And my dad made sure that I understood this properly. He said, do not pick a school for the coach, because the coach could change jobs and you asked out. He said, so figure out the guys that you're going to play around, what you want to study in school, and the on-campus environment. Make those be your decisions. And so I thought, University of Illinois, my parents can come see me play. It's about 3 hours away from Carbondale, so they could come see me when they wanted to. I was close enough to get home if I needed to, but far enough away that if I was clowning, I might be able to hide a little bit of something before my dad got up there. And then I really liked Illinois campus. When I took a visit and I found out that they had a broadcast journalism program, that's what I wanted to major in. I liked the campus. I knew that Nick and Kendall and Lowell was already there, and all these guys were thinking about going there. Right. I was like, man, this is the place for me. Another story. I was going to Northwestern.
Really?
Man, I took a visit.
Oh, really?
Look, again now, I'm a country boy from Carbondale. They brought me up in the city, brought me up to Evanston. We off the lake, and we go out downtown Chicago. I'm like, yo. And they got the #1 media program in the country. So I come home, My mom said, baby, what'd you think? I said, Mom, I'm going to Northwestern. My dad said, son, get in the car. We got in the car. We drove around Carbondale. My dad said, Stephen, you're a competitor. He said, you never lost a day in your life. He said, you'll be the best player on the worst team in the Big Ten and you'll be miserable. This is coming from a college professor. So he said, Stephen, I'll never want to tell you what to do because you're becoming a young man. He said, but I'm telling you right now, if you go to Northwestern, you'll be miserable because you will not win in the Big Ten. And I got out the car. I said, Mom, I'm going to Illinois. My mom made my dad sleep on the couch for 2 weeks.
I'm going to Illinois.
She was hot.
Hold on. Finish that. You said your parents slept on the couch.
Man, my
for
dad
2 weeks?
slept on the couch for 2. My mom was hot. She was hot as fish grease. Because she was like, look.
Because you was going to Illinois.
Well, she wanted me to go to Northwestern. Because she was like, the basketball's going to get you where you want to be. I ain't worried about the basketball. I'm worried about your education. She saw Northwestern, me going into broadcast. She's like, my baby's going to the top broadcast school in the country. That's all she was concerned with. When she knew my dad made me change my mind, she was hot. For 2 weeks. My dad slept on the couch. I'm coming to him every day. He's like, son, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And we...
Was she mad at you too?
She wasn't mad at me. She was mad. She was mad at my dad though. I mean,
he took
2
one
weeks,
for the team,
bro.
man. He took one for the team.
He took a major one for the team. And and she came back and admitted that he was right, but she wasn't having it. She was like, I didn't give a damn about basketball. She said, I wanted my baby to have a top-notch education. She said, not that Illinois wouldn't provide that, but you wanted to go into broadcast journalism. That's the top school in the country. She thought that was a no-brainer. But my dad ended up being right. He was exactly right. I wouldn't have been on the Final Four team. I wouldn't be on the air right now because Dennis Swanson was a former basketball manager at the University of Illinois in the early 60s. He was the president of ESPN. That's how I got into the business.
Wow. Look at that.
So amazing.
Look at now that's a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm asking, upon coming to Illinois, who signed first? When did you knew that Kendall was coming, Nick was coming?
Nick was the last one because he had like Louisville. I think Syracuse was on him hard. Nick could have gone anywhere in the country, so he was the last one. I was an early signee, so me and Larry Smith were kind of like the same time, and then Kendall was right after us, and then Irvin was going to go where Nick was going to go because they were a package deal. Irvin Small, and so they came late. But I knew I knew that Kendall and I knew that Larry were coming because we all kind of signed at the same time. It's unique to have 3 guards like we were. We were all kind of similar. Yes. Big guards.
Yes.
And similar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big guard.
And,
long
but we all
arms.
decided to go to Illinois at the same time. And man, I'm sure glad we did. Because it wasn't go ahead.
Hey, I don't know if you saw this, but whenever I saw you guys play, I always felt, I'm like, damn, why Kendall Gill move like Michael Jordan? It was something about his game that he carried himself like Michael Jordan, the way he walked, the way he shot the ball and everything. I'm like, damn, he looks similar to Mike to me. Was it for you guys or was Mike his guy?
You talk about idolizing somebody. Kendall, like back then, we didn't have phones and all that stuff, so Kendall had to do like some extensive research.
Right.
So whenever Kendall got back to the crib, if he knew a security guard at the Bulls, he's bugging the crap out of him. He wants to know the underwear Mike was wearing. He wanted to know what Mike was eating. He wanted to know what he was driving. He wanted to know what type of ladies Mike liked because he would try to go after them type of women. Kendall was obsessed with being like Jordan. So everything that Mike did, Kendall tried to implement into his game and his demeanor. And you guys, man, Kendall got benched in his sophomore season, towards the end of the season. And he really went through a dark time, man. He was really struggling. And he called his dad. He said, Dad, I think I'm going to transfer. And Rudy Gill, I love Mr. Gill. Rudy Gill said, boy, You didn't sign to go to Illinois to be down there. You signed to Illinois to be a man among boys. Be the man among boys. Kendall came back and worked that summer and made himself a lottery pick. So it was Kendall. People don't understand. Kendall's he's got his personality that if he locks in on something, he's going to go after it. He was the hardest working teammate, maybe outside of Joe Dumars that I ever had. Joe D was crazy.
And very athletic.
You got to remember, man, Kendall came to Illinois about 175, 180. He left 225. And it wasn't no steroids because Kendall didn't smoke, didn't drink. So he wasn't doing it. He ate weights.
Eating the weights.
He ate weights and ate the training table. Yeah, he came in at like 180. Damn. He left at 225.
I just want to say this, Steve. Man, I'm hearing your story, but a lot of what I'm hearing too is, man, that you talked about your dad, you talked about Kendall's dad, and sometimes it's I think about how critical that was at different aspects in your life. Can you just expound on that a little bit though?
So my dad would take a sabbatical from his job as a professor at SIU, and he told them, "I'm following my son around for his college career." So my dad realized that I don't think Lowell Hamilton's father was in the picture much. I don't think Nick's dad was in the picture much. I know Black Mike, Irvin's dad, Black Mike, who was a gangbanger, a preacher, and a Sigma all in one. The cat was crazy, but he was in and out of jail. Larry Smith's dad wasn't involved. And so what my dad used to do when he come play the games, he'd take a player and he'd go give them some encouragement or tell them something he thought they needed to hear or give them a hug. Or sometimes he slipped money in their pocket. These cats didn't tell me that till after I got older. Because my old man knew, because my old man was dirt poor.
Wow.
And he didn't come from much. So the reason that I'm where I am is because of my dad and my mom. That's it. Because there's a ton of guys that can hoop better than me. There's a ton of guys who are faster, that can shoot better. They could do different things better. But in critical junctions of my life, I had a father that went through it like I was getting ready to go through it, and he could point to me different scenarios to watch out for. He rarely told me what to do. He didn't like saying, "You got to do this." He would give me an option. He'd ask me a bunch of questions to get me to think about things. So the difference between Stephen Bardo and Marcus Liberty is Harold Bardo. That's it. If Marcus and Daryl, God rest his soul, Liberty, if Marcus and Daryl Liberty, if their father was involved on a consistent basis, they would be 15-year NBA veterans. Wow. That's how I see it. Larry Smith wouldn't be back struggling in Alton right now because Larry Smith was more talented than all of us. Nick, Kendall,
really?
He was the most talented player coming in that freshman year. And so, but Larry didn't have good influences in his life. He had influences that took him down a different path. And so that ended up pulling him away from his greatness. But I'm telling you, man, that's why it's so critical for black men to be in black children's lives, whether they're your parents or not.
Absolutely.
If you can get that father figure to point you in the right direction, to give you that love and that support, to let you know that when you walk out of this house, it's going to be tough out there in the world, but when you come back in here, I got you. You mine. I got you. And once you're in this house, ain't nothing going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And think about this. If there were boys that could walk outside in our neighborhoods and be cool being nerds, if they didn't have to be tough all the time. Think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have to walk a mile and a half to go a half a mile, but they got to go a mile and a half to avoid the trouble.
Yep.
You know, if we just had, if we had that, we'd just be so much better off, I think.
It's so crazy you say that because me and Will grew up in the infestation in our neighborhoods of gangs. But But they thing was when they saw us playing ball, to us, we wasn't squares. Like we, oh man, we don't smoke, drink, gang, bang, do none of that. Oh, they just play ball. But now it's like, oh, you a lame, you a square if you don't do none of those things. Like,
Yep.
we was considered untouchable. Oh, they play ball.
Y'all got a pass.
Well, we got the Hooper pass.
You got the Hooper's pass. And you know what we need to do now? We need a nerds pass. Because Elon Musk growing up was a nerd.
Yep.
Bill Gates growing up was a nerd.
It was a nerd.
And there was a movie called Revenge of the Nerds back in the day, and I used to watch it, and I'd be like, man, this is cool. No, it's real.
Yep.
We need nerd passes in the hood, y'all.
Yep.
We really do.
Let's cup these kids, man. If they're science, mathematics, whatever it is, cup them. And be like, yo, they off limits, y'all. Keep that mess away from these kids. Y'all know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We see it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You see the kids, that are intelligent, now they got to dress hood. They can't, because if they don't, they trying to be unmarked. They can't even celebrate their victories in life, because as soon as they begin to celebrate, like, they don't want to show up to the assemblies and receive awards anymore. They don't want to be marked out there. So, man, you're absolutely right. We need that pass, because everybody, it's funny, but the NCAA every year puts out this commercial. Everybody going to go pro. It may not be in sports.
It is real.
But that's so real. You're going to go pro in something.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to be sports.
Yeah.
So, man, we're talking to the great Illini, Stephen Bardo. So, man, we're going to keep this moving. So, what was it like freshman year, man? You on campus. There's your teammates. What was that like?
I had an advantage, guys, because my dad being a college professor, my brother went to Indiana, my sister was on Johnny Logan's campus, and I grew up on SIU's campus. So I used to mess with some girls back in the day when I was in high school, because I was the man, and there might be a freshman on campus who was new, and so I got kind of the lay of the land of how campus life worked. So when I got there as a freshman, it was perfect for me, because I wasn't the top dude. That was Nick. That was Lowell Hamilton. That was Ken Norman. Snake. Y'all remember Snake? That was those cats.
Yeah.
So I could come in and be the dude that spoke proper English, because they used to call me a square until I got in a fight, me and Nick Anderson squared off on the court the first week. And they were like, oh, okay, he might be square, but he ain't scared. Right? He might talk proper, he might sound white, but he ain't scared. He'll knuckle up. So after that first week, all my teammates were like, okay, he cool. And if we got to go somewhere, we got to knuckle up. He going to be right there with us. Or I might be in the front of the line, because I like scrapping. I ain't scared of scrap. But so camp, man, look, I couldn't have had it better at Illinois, because I could talk to the ladies, because that was what I like to do. I like to hang out and talk to the ladies. That was my thing. So, y'all could be over there arguing about who's the toughest and, y'all go ahead on. I'll be right over here on the quad looking at these AKAs and these Deltas and, hollering at them. You know what I'm saying? So college life was great, man.
Hey, Will, I could just picture Stephen A. out there with some binoculars.
Absolutely. No, listen. Hey, he was in the middle. He was sitting in the middle. He was like, what y'all call this area here?
That's right.
What's this
Just
called?
where I'm posting up right here.
Right.
Because I'm seeing everything coming. And, man, when you think about it, you're on a campus of 45,000 co-eds. And now you're a basketball player. You're not a football player, because football players are covered up. And so people would see football players because of their size and guess, oh, okay, that might be a football player. They knew us. Yep. Like, we had instant recognition. So everywhere we went on campus, we were like rock stars. Right. Even as a freshman, people were like, man, you come from Carbondale, you average 21 points a game in high school. And I'm thinking, like, who is this? And how do they know all this? So it was different. But I was very fortunate that I had that experience growing up in Carbondale, being on a college campus. So it wasn't as foreign as it was for Irvin and Nick and some of my other teammates that came from the city, they came down there, man. It was like, you know, I ain't gonna put their business out on Front Street, but they were able to do some things because, you know, it was a college campus. It wasn't a city.
It wasn't a city.
So it wasn't a city. Everything wasn't locked down. If y'all understand what I mean. So, you know, it was a bigger adjustment for them than it was for me. But I loved it.
I got you. We got you.
Hey, Steven, what was a Coach Lou Henson practice like?
Oh, man. Here we go.
Everything wasn't locked down.
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry I asked that question. Damn. Steven, they just rolled.
Man.
I mean, Steven just rolled his eyes like.
Listen.
Do you want to know?
William said something earlier about being recruited. So
you know about a two-a-day, huh?
Yeah, it was.
No, you didn't. No.
He didn't care.
That's illegal.
Man, look, when we first got to school, oh, man, I was like, is this the same cat that came in my house talking nice to my parents? And he bite my head off right now for not hitting a line? Who is this fool, man? This ain't the cat I signed up with. I was like, Bernie Mac, who you with? Like, what you doing? I was like, man. No, man, it was grueling. I had muscles in my body I didn't know I had. We ran. I mean, we had Ken Norman, Doug Altenberger, Glenn Blackwell, Jens Kuyava, Uwe Blob. We had big, strong dudes. And they would just pummel you in practice. That part of it was a tough adjustment. But I got the starter's position mid to late December and never relinquished it. So although it was a tough transition, I was balling.
What was it? Another point guard in practice that you had to battle it out for the starting job?
Yeah, Tony Weisinger was the starting point guard, and then Glenn Blackwell has started. But what happened was they figured that Tony Weisinger was one of our best shooters, so they wanted to get him off of point guard responsibilities. They tried Glenn at the point guard, but Glenn was a scorer, and Glenn could run the point, but he wasn't comfortable running the point. So then it was between me and Larry Smith, and Larry Smith just didn't go to class. So if you don't go to class, you're not gonna play. So
what you mean? What you mean? You just didn't go to class? Larry, what are you talking about?
Had an interesting background. When Larry went to Greek mythology class, he aced it. Larry was incredibly intelligent when he was interested in the material. But if he wasn't interested in material, he wouldn't go.
Material.
And so he just wouldn't go to class. And so he was balling, and he was better than me at that point. But I knew not to turn the ball over and to defend like my life depended on it, and to get the ball to the seniors. I knew those three things. And if I did those three things, my dad told me, again, here's my dad's advice. He's like, don't worry about scoring. Do these three things and you'll get on the court as a freshman. And I'll be damned if he wasn't right. And that's what happened. And so I had to beat out, they moved Tony off the point.
What?
Glenn tried it, wasn't comfortable. They didn't like the mix. So they're going to throw Larry or me in there. Larry had been missing class. I'd been doing everything the coach asked. I'd win the sprints. I won the 2.5 mile race. We had a 2.5 mile race for time that we did every year. I won that. And, I got in good graces of the coaches, and they threw me in there, and it clicked, and it worked.
Now, just from a timeline perspective, your freshman year was what year?
86, 87.
86, 87. And the Final Four year, that's
88, 89. That's my junior year.
88, 89. Yep. So your freshman year, the starting five is who?
Myself, Tony Weisinger, Doug Altenberger, Ken Norman, and then it started with Jens Kuyava, 7-footer from Germany, but Lowell Hamilton eventually took his spot at the center spot.
And I'm only bringing that up because I'm just remembering the teams, man, as you all progressed throughout the years, how you got more and more athletic, because Ken Norman probably should have been on a football field. That was the biggest dude I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, man, but I remember Ken in high school too. I'm just like, man, that dude can run through a brick wall and it wouldn't even faze him. Yep. But throughout the years, you guys got thinner, quicker, more athletic. What was? Did you recognize that transition, or it just happened?
No, what happened was Kenny Battle transferred from Northern Illinois, came to University of Illinois, but he came with us. So he had to sit out our freshman year, but he could practice. So what happened was they would, Nick and you got to remember freshman year, Nick and Irvin were Proposition 48. So they couldn't practice. They couldn't really practice. 48. But what we do, we go to Impey before the season started. It would be Nick. So, we would have some subs and whatnot, but it'd be Nick, Kendall, Larry Smith, myself, Kenny Battle, and Lowell Hamilton against George Montgomery was working out to leave. Bruce Douglas would come back every now and then all the vets. So the vets would play the youngsters. We would hang with them cats. And Kenny Battle was dunking on them cats like left and right. They were like, where is this high jumping fool coming from? So the coaches saw this, they would hear the scrimmages. And they'd be like, well, dang. So they would put us, Nick and Irvin weren't playing, but they would put Kendall, Larry, myself, Kenny Battle, and then they would throw like Lowell, or they would maybe throw Phil Kuntz, who was a fellow freshman, big dude. And we were hanging in practice. Mm-hmm. And so they said our sophomore year, they were like, you know what? We think we don't need Yins and Uwe. We're going to go Lowell Hamilton, Kenny Battle, Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill, and Stephen Bardo, sophomore year. Jay Wright the other day, I just covered a Villanova game. He was an assistant coach on the NCAA second round game that we lost to Villanova on a last second shot. And he said, Stephen, I knew when I saw you guys sophomore year, you guys are going to have a chance to win a national championship next year. So everybody could see it. And that was our sophomore year was the impetus for the Flyin Illini. We had a really good run towards the end of the year. We started to figure things out, and then we got crushed. That last second loss where we should have beaten them, or we would have beaten Kentucky in the Sweet 16. We should have been in the Elite Eight our sophomore year, but ended up getting beaten the second round. So that's when we knew we had a squad.
Man, let me tell you the thing that points out in my mind when you said the name Kenny Battle.
Ooh.
All I can do is just see this dude, man, lefty, built like the only other dude I saw that, and I probably can go as far as to say this, he's probably weight-wise wasn't his size, but he was kind of like that early model for like a Zion Williams type.
Yes, he was. That's a great description.
I remember seeing this dude dunk on a dude in one game, and I just said, that dude might not ever play again who he dunked on. I mean, like, he had that kind of impact when he dunked on you. I mean, you just felt like, Coach, come get me. I mean, that was, I'd never seen a dude that athletic before in my life, man. I mean, that Illini team was just monstrous. But listen, that's me ranting, man. But let us continue. Listen, go ahead, Agee.
No, I was gonna tell him. I used to hear the commentator, the analyst on y'all games. You're like, Battle, he's gonna try to dunk everything. He tries to dunk missed shots. Tip dunks. Dude, that was his specialty. He would look at it. He would get his feet ready and see. Man, I've seen him catch ones with two hands, then put it in his left and go like boom, and then catch him with two hands and put it down. I said, this dude tried to dunk everything. Like missed shots.
What I love that he used to do? He'll get it on the box, take that one strive, just rise above everything, man. I mean, that dude was phenomenal.
And what made him so athletic was that he could do it off two feet and off stride. True.
He could.
He was the one able. Yep, he was able to do both of them, and powerful with it.
Well, listen, man, we got this thing called halftime because we want to come back after that, man, and talk about that Final Four run. I mean, That was phenomenal. But we do this thing called halftime, and what we want to do is to hit you with some quick hitters. So my first question for you is, who are the 3 toughest guards you matched up against in college?
Wow. 3 toughest guards. So you got to remember something, guys. I used to guard the opposing team's best scorer. So I guarded Danny Manning.
Yep.
Glen Rice.
All the time.
Steve Smith. Jimmy Jackson.
Smith. Yeah.
But you know who the coldest cat, in college was that I guarded? Chris Morris from Auburn.
Really?
I remember him.
Played with the Nets. Played with the Utah Jazz.
Yes.
Man, listen.
Yes.
Listen. I couldn't do nothing. He dropped 33 on me in Assembly Hall. And I'm sitting there, I'm a sophomore, and I'm guarding him, I'm in him, I'm trying everything. I'm talking about his mama. I'm trying to pull his shorts. I'm trying to scratch his leg. And he just smiled at me. He said, "Try again, young fellow." Wop. Try again, young fellow. Wop. I mean, he's pulling up from the parking lot. So Chris Morris was 1. Glen Rice was 2. And then Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
So look, we go down to LSU, and me and Kendall are going to take turns guarding this cat, right? This dude was so fast on the first play. Kendall's in a defensive position, and Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, is coming right at him.
Uh-huh.
Chris does a move so fast and gets his shot off. Kendall didn't know the cat had shot until he heard the crowd cheering.
He was still down in the stands, dog.
Look, he's down in the stands. He's like, all right, I got this cat. And he's standing there for a second. He heard the crowd cheer. He look around, and Chris is running down the other way. And he's like, that dude scored that fast? Listen. This cat, he had 29 on me and Kendall. He fouled out with 9 minutes left in the game. We couldn't do nothing with it. So Irvin Small was messing with him because he had Tourette's syndrome. He had a little bit of Tourette's. So Irvin was like doing this to him on the free throw. I said, Irvin, if you do that again, I'm going to knock the... dude, don't get this cat mad, man. You ain't got to guard him. Man, don't do that. We're going to be back. We're going to be boxing. Stop doing that, man.
Right.
And that cat was wearing us out, man. He just whoop into his jumper. I mean, we couldn't do... Now, we spanked him. We beat him 130 to 101 at LSU. Dale Brown said that's the best team I've seen in 30 years come through this building.
Wow.
And I always say Chris Jackson was a mixture. He was these two guys. I don't want to say Isaiah Thomas, but he was a Allen Iverson and a Kyrie Irving.
Hold on. I like that mix, but I'm gonna tell you, I think he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
That's what people say.
But he had a handle that was so. I mean, it was so tight. It was never out here. Wow, all his handles was in here. He would get you with this and that, and just go right into his shot. He would do moves that wasn't normal to a defensive person.
Tell me about it.
But he also was the first guy who hit shots and ran down the court and knew they was going in too. He did. The first cat who was hitting shots and turn around and be heading back down court, because that joker was. I don't think he missed.
No,
much.
he didn't.
He averaged 40.
I think he averaged 30. But the game that I was most impressed with him, LSU was on the road at Florida, and Florida had a good team then. I think Vernon Maxwell had already left, but they had the guards. Okay. I can't remember their names, but they were all SEC guards. And Chris Jackson didn't start this game. He came off the bench and gave them 53. And I saw all 53 points, and I'm sitting there like, man, you can't stop this cat, man. He was dunking on him. He's catching oops. You know, he would do his patented, you know, he had a in and out dribble, but he had a hedge fake with it that would just, you know, the best defender would just get off balance. He just needed a second, because I'm 6'6".
That's it.
Kendall's 6'5", and I'm long. And I said, you know what? I can keep an arm's length from him, and I can bother his shot.
Right, and still contest.
Man, please. time I'm thinking about getting up, that shot's gone. I'm like this. I'm jumping. I'm going to contest this shot, but I'm jumping, turning around like, dang, he got that off already? Man. So, yeah, he was the toughest I've guarded in college.
Who got the wildest fans in the country you played in overseas?
I'd have to say Italy. I got in a fight on national television and flipped off the crowd. And they have these retractable things that they pulled out because they were throwing coins and bottles and stuff, and they tried to rock our bus. And then I got cut from the team the next day. So I didn't play in Greece. I heard they were wild in Greece, but they were wild in Italy. Spain was cool. Germany was cool. France was real chill. You know, they get into it, but the fans in Italy, they get at you a little bit. They were a little crazy.
Wow.
Your 3 favorite cities you lived in overseas, and give me your favorite food from those cities.
Oh, hands down, Barcelona. I could live in Barcelona. The paella and the fresh seafood there were unbelievable. I grew to love Tokyo. I hated it when I first got. I played 4 years in a suburb right outside of Tokyo called Kawasaki, and I hated it at first because I had my wife and my 2 sons at the time, so it was difficult getting my family situated. But once I embraced the culture and the fact that I was there, I loved it because the Japanese people are very warm.
Wow.
They're very accommodating. They're very loyal. So, and I didn't like sushi before I went over there, but boy, I was killing it when I left. So I like that.
Oh, wow.
And then the third place, Paris was off the chain, but I kind of liked Caracas, Venezuela, and here's why. The baddest honeys in the world, hands down. No question about it. No question. Bro, they got ladies that are serving food that will cause car accidents over here, bro. They don't even know how fine they were. Like, man, when I was down there, I was only played down there for a month. I was on a replacement gig. Man, I came back, man. My neck was in one of them things that you got whiplash. Because I'm like, damn, stop, hold up, wait.
Golly.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you.
He said
Venezuela. Bro, it ain't even close. It ain't even close.
Hey, Agee, you hear a recurring theme with Steve?
Yeah.
Hey, if the ladies are fine,
I'm
he's
trying.
there.
He's there. He's like, how much you gonna pay me? And the ladies is A plus one. Okay, I'm coming now.
You know that was in his contract. Hey, if your ladies ain't fine, I can't even.
Well,
come
I mean,
that way.
if they still gonna pay me to hoop, I'll come. But if it's a choice, y'all know where I'm going.
Right.
Here go your other quick hitter. Give us your 3 favorite sneakers you played in over the years.
Oh, 3 favorite sneakers. The CB3s. The Charles Barkley 3s they were the ultimate. Love those.
Really?
Back in high school, I loved the Adidas Top 10.
Really?
Loved the Adidas Top 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Favorite.
Yeah. And then
yes, that's the classic.
Another one, some kind of Nike brand. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was it was probably mid-90s, a Nike brand. But I was a CB3.
Okay.
Those were the most comfortable shoes, basketball shoes, and they got better the older they got. That's why I liked them so much. So those are my 3.
That's what Ray Jackson said too. He said, "Man, give me the Charles Barkley,
most comfortable shoes you could get
any day." 3 toughest college stadiums you've been in as a broadcaster that you couldn't even hear yourself.
As a broadcaster, Rutgers.
Really?
Oh man, Rutgers University, the Rack.
Yeah.
Dirty Jersey all day, baby. Jersey got a different energy.
Yeah, it does.
That East Coast got a different. Oh man, Rack.
They got a student section crazy too.
What?
The whole building is students.
Dude, it sounded like they passed out free liquor before the game because they're rowdy. It's an older gym and it's built like this, so the sound comes down on the court. So I'd say Rutgers, I'd say Purdue, and I'd probably a toss up between Arkansas and Kansas because Allen Fieldhouse is loud, and
that's an old building too, right?
Yeah, but it's I don't know how they got it configured, but the sound is deafening. And Walton Arena in Arkansas, where they call them hogs, when they say pigs, sweet. Oh my God. Man, forget it. It's loud, bro.
Wow.
So those would be mine.
Now you on the road a lot, what 5 tracks is in Stephen Bardo's playlist?
5 tracks that are in my playlist.
You got some jazz, some R&B.
I'm a Freddie Gibbs fan, so I got some Freddie Gibbs in there. I'm a Chicago house head through and through, so I got some house in there.
Yeah.
I got some Bob Marley because I'm a reggae man.
Okay, me too.
I like. I'm an old school jazz cat, so I like Agee.
Absolutely.
Y'all remember the saxophone player Agee?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And let me throw in another one. One that I like. Man, I'm a Tribe fan. A Tribe Called Quest, son.
That is.
Come on.
That shut it
That's
down
it.
right there. That shut it down
That's
right
it.
there.
That's my group.
So if you gonna,
I could do that playlist.
if you gonna throw the Tribe out there, which song popping on first?
Oh, now that's hard. It might be 8 Million Stories. It could be what's the one he said? Went to Carville to get a milkshake. Honey. What's that cut? You can just pick a Tribe cut, man, because they all bang to me.
Man, can I kick it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What?
Man, thank you for doing halftime with us. Man, we want to jump into Final Four squad. Give us the names.
Me at point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall Gill at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Anderson at small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Ballard power forward. Lowell Hamilton at center.
Hamilton at center.
And then coming off the bench, number 1 player in the country in high school, Marcus Liberty.
Absolutely.
Larry Smith. Irvin Small.
Ooh.
And then Petey Weestraw, the devil's son-in-law, P.J. Bowman. That was his nickname, Petey Weestraw, the devil's son-in-law. So, yeah, so that was the Final Four squad.
That team was so incredible. And let me tell you what I remember most about this team, beside the outstanding individual play. I just remember, man, when things would get going, I could still see you turn it up defensively and get a steal right away. Everybody in the building knew it was Bardo time, because literally you'd be the only person up there pressing. It's like everybody say, as soon as you get to half court, Steve taking it back the other way. And sure enough, as soon as you got to half court, did you ever see yourself with that talented team being the leader of that team?
I really didn't, guys. It just it kind of all came together. I'm a natural leader. My dad always put the ball in my hands, even though I was going to be taller than a lot of people in high school. He wanted me to be a point guard because I just had that kind of makeup and personality. So, when I got to Illinois, man, I just wanted to play. And, with all this collection of talent that came together and the fact that we hung out off the court as well as played well on the court, it really helped our chemistry. And they got to see that, I can take a 40 ounce to the head. I can holler at the ladies. I can be, I can fight if we need to fight, but I'm going to talk the way that I was taught to talk. I don't need to sound like you. I don't need to dress like you. I don't need to look like you. But I need you to respect me because I'm going to respect you.
Absolutely.
And once we got that squared away, it was wonderful because Lou Henson was smart enough to understand that I could call stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
And I could see who needed the ball. I could see if we needed to change defenses.
Yeah.
So he gave me a lot of license to make a lot of the calls on the floor. So I didn't expect it, but I was sure glad that it all fell into place.
Let me ask you this,
like
Stephen. Who coined the phrase Flyin Illini? When did you? Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember what game and what happened for him to say that?
Our sophomore year. He saw us at the end of the year. He covered one of our games. He couldn't believe how athletic we were. And so he came back that next year. We were playing, was it Arizona? It was a big national game or something on ESPN.
It was Arizona. It was the Arizona game.
It was Arizona game. And so Kenny Battle got a kickoff. He got down the court. I think Anthony Cook, who played in the league, Anthony Cook didn't watch the tape because he jumped and Kenny brought that thing back from Aurora and jammed that thing on his head, and the place went nuts. And Dick Vitale, my dad was telling me, because he taped the game, he said, I thought Dick Vitale was going to have a heart attack. He said, oh my God, Kenny Battle goes in. This is the Flyin Illini. And then it came out. He said, this is the Flyin Illini. It's not the Fighting Illini. And it stuck. That's how it happened.
Wow.
And we had to be a pretty good team to get a nickname from Dick Vitale.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
But it stuck. But it was perfect, though.
So it did stick. Yes, it did.
My God. Because y'all actually embraced it. Because after that, it was like everybody was dunking. I mean, even Low Hamilton, he was getting in the picture. He was catching it down low, turning around. It's almost like it took one guy. You guys were really like the Fire Slammer Jammers in a sense, where y'all just like, it took one guy. It took one guy to get it going. And it just took off from there. But that team, it changed the landscape of college basketball too, from this perspective that nobody saw a team with the size that you guys had on the court. We didn't see 6'6" point guards. Yep. We didn't see 6'2" guards playing together.
Nope.
It was point guards were your small guys like us. That changed the landscape. I mean, was that in your mind, or you all just accepted it that way?
We just accepted it that way. And, me and Larry kind of took on a Chicago swagger. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We coming in and busting y'all ass. Absolutely. I don't care who you are. Y'all might be the Chicago Bulls. We still think we're gonna come in and bust y'all ass. And that's the kind of demeanor that we had. And this is what I tell people, and they don't really realize it. We were the originators of positionless basketball.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Think about it. We were the originators. There wasn't a team before us that kind of was across the board the same. We could switch 1 through 5 defensively. All the guys could get the rebound and start to break if they wanted to. We could all score if necessary. Mm-hmm. We could all defend well. And we repped the state. We took pride in all of us being from the state of Illinois. Mm. And we took that Chicago swagger. Yep. And we, because we didn't call it swagger back then, but it was like, we coming in, all right, Lakers, Magic, I'm checking your ass up. What? Come bring it.
Yeah. I know the media really loved that you guys were all from Illinois, that you had some Illinois. They pumped that. So it was like, when you thought of Big Ten, then you thought of you guys, the Flyin Illini. You didn't think about Wisconsin, Michigan State, Michigan. You thought about Big Ten basketball is Illinois.
Yeah. No, it was special. And, because if you guys remember the names of people that I was talking about, high school players. So Randy Doss, Leo High School, Chicago, could ball, went to Ohio State. Ken Redfield, where did Ken go? Weber? Did he go to Weber before it closed down?
Yeah.
I think
he went to Weber, but he had to go to Michigan State. All these guys from the Chi, a lot of cats left the area. They weren't able to go to U of I.
Yeah. But
we were fortunate enough to go to U of I, so we knew, like, man, it's a lot of cats who would want to play for U of I. So every time we put this jersey on, we knew it meant something, and we had to represent every time we hit the floor.
And represent y'all did.
Do you feel Coach Lou and his staff coached you guys the right way? Because he actually, I don't know what system y'all ran, but he actually let y'all individual talent shine through the whole team.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. I think Jimmy Collins and Coach Nagy, the two main assistants, they really had to sell Lou on the aspect of like, look, man, you saw the game against Villanova. We had Villanova down 10 points with 1:50 left. We just didn't hit our free throw. But we were in the Sweet 16. And I'm telling y'all, Kentucky was there. We would have wore Kentucky's ass out that year. So Coach Collins and Coach Nagy had to go to Lou Henson and say, Lou, you're going to have to play these guys the way that they are. And I'm telling you, look at what they can do. We would have been in the Sweet 16 had we hit our free throws. So Lou bought into it. And then, we ran a motion offense. We had a few sets if we wanted to get certain people to basketball. But he basically let me run the show from the point guard position. I made majority of the calls and, let us go. And I give him a lot of credit because a lot of coaches during that era would not have done that.
Hey, you know what play they used to call? This is the play they used to call. You got Lowell Hamilton on the block, and he put Kenny Battle behind him, and Steve used to just throw it over the top, and all you see is Kenny jump up, grab it, and dunk it in.
Stevie, this what I would have hated to be the opposing point guard, like when y'all scored, and like the opposing point guard is waiting for his man to take the ball out and give it to him, and to turn around and to see your ass sitting down right there, not even letting him, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were sticking the guy 94 feet, like already twisting him, turning him. And I mean, I'm like, he the only, everybody else got to their man. You the only one up there making it hard for him to get it in. Like motherfucker, you finna have to deal with me before you even get across to run your offense. You did that every time. Like, did you do that on your own, or they told you to do that?
Because I knew that defensive pressure. That Irvin Small used to say something. He said it. They used to say this in the Ickies. They'd say pressure busts pipes. So I'm gonna stay in your ass all game, and I'm not taking a break. And the only time I'm taking a break is when there's a timeout. When there's time on the clock, I'm in your ass. And that's I picked that up from high school, and it would get my teammates energized. Cause they're like, man, this dude is working. He making me look bad. I can't be back here like chilling. I gotta be up in the passing lane. Cause this dude has just worked the cat 50 feet before he could get his offense started. And I knew mentally that would wear down the other team and that would energize my team.
So we got to go down here. We got to go down here, Steve. Walk us through that Final Four game, because you guys really, you had that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had that game. As a matter of fact, we supposed to have Sean Higgins on the show soon.
That's my man.
And yeah. Actually, I saw your interview with him.
That's my man.
Great interview, by the way. Walk us through that, man. Walk us through that.
Well, people don't realize that Michigan's head coach, Bill Frieder, during the end of the regular season had made an agreement, and he signed with Arizona State. So he was going to be leaving Michigan. The athletic director at the time, Bo Schembechler, God rest his soul, made a decision and said, you know what? We need a Michigan man leading our Michigan team into the tournament. They let go of Fisher, and they let go of Bill Frieder, brought in Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher said two things. He said, Ramil, you're going to stop shooting the ball when you want to. And second, the first person that's going to get a shot is going to be Glen Rice. To this day, Glen Rice holds the scoring record for an NCAA tournament. To this day. Now, no.
Nobody broken it.
I did the best job on Glen Rice throughout the whole tournament. He only hit me for 29.
He said only.
He only tapped my ass for 29. He hit Virginia in a Sweet 16 game for 46 points. He went on a tear. He had 30 or more every other game except for us. And so when we played them, we knew it was different. It was going to be different from the first two times we beaten them. So what they did was Steve Fisher made a great adjustment that we had not seen all season long. Nick Anderson was the best player on the baseline in college basketball that season. If Nick got the ball on the baseline, you couldn't stop it.
It was a bucket.
But what happened was they would bring one of their two bookend forwards, Loy Vaught, 12-year NBA veteran, 6'8", 240, no pump, or Terry Mills, 6'9", 245, 12-year NBA vet. They would bring them to double team Nick on the baseline. We had not worked on it. We had not seen it. Had I not been in the game, I probably would have told Nick, when you go baseline, stop, pivot, kick out, we'll swing it around the horn. The cat on the other side have a wide open look. We never seen it. So when Nick went baseline, put his head down, he had this 6'9" forward come and shutting things off. He couldn't overpower them. So we got stagnated, and it would jam up our offense. That one thing I thought cost us the championship. That one adjustment right there. I give Steve Fisher a ton of credit for that. He does not get enough credit for his coaching ability and coach them to a national championship.
That game looked at like prize fighting Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. It was just y'all throwing blows at each other. Boom, I'm gonna throw you a blow. I'm gonna throw you a blow. I'm gonna throw you a blow. And by them blows getting thrown, it came down to that one last simple thing. Your man then box out. The ball come over, Sean Higgins get it, go right back up. I'm like, get the fuck out
That's
of
what it
here.
was. And you know what? Illinois fans to this day would swear that's an over and back call. And I was like, absolutely not. Because in college basketball then, he didn't push him at all.
Yeah, because he didn't push him. He didn't push him at all.
And even if there was contact, back then, the refs didn't call a foul in that situation. You had to play through it. They weren't going to decide a game on a call like that. They're going to let the players decide. And he made a hell of a play. And, you know, I talked to him. He'll tell you right now. He's like, Bardo and them, because we love that team. And they loved us. That's what people don't understand. We loved them. We were cool. We were never talking trash. There was never any cheap shots. We had the utmost respect for each other. And so, you know, we were highly upset and broken after the game. But you know who was there to cheer Michigan on against Seton Hall in the championship game? All the Flyin Illini.
Wow.
We were at that game cheering for Michigan.
What? Y'all didn't leave and fly back home. Y'all stayed for the championship game and watched the game. And cheered for them.
Yeah.
That's brother.
Because it was important. It was like, look, man, we're crushed. We think we should be playing for a national championship, but we're not. And guess what? If it ain't us, it's our brothers out here, right?
It's one of our Big Ten.
It's our other Big Ten brothers. And we were front and center cheering for them. Like when Glenn was draining threes, I got up, went like this, and it was like, dude, you with Michigan? I said, I am right now.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was a great experience.
I still remember that game, man. It's so amazing how, as fans, obviously we couldn't feel what y'all felt, but man, we felt.
I know y'all. I know the city
cried.
Was hurting, bro.
The city, oh man.
Yeah, I know they were.
The city was hurt.
I mean, I wasn't a betting man, but we knew y'all was winning that game. I mean, we just, you know, we knew it. But I will say this, man, what that did was, and all credit goes to that Flyin Illini team, it put that university on the map, and it made younger players like myself, Agee, and others want to start going to that school. I mean, it was like, it was like, you know what? Maybe Champaign ain't really that far. I mean, we saw the success and we all wanted to be a part of that. And of course, we went to different schools, but it wasn't just us.
Yep.
Other guys, like we had Deion Thomas on there. He talked about the same thing, how, you know, it was you guys that really opened up, you know, the city of Chicago and really just the state of Illinois to saying, Illinois is the team. Because at one point, DePaul kind of carried that mantle.
They sure did.
But it was y'all team that changed the landscape of Illinois basketball, man. That was incredible.
Going into the 90s. I mean, everybody, if you got recruited by, I mean, I was pissed off and mad that Illinois didn't recruit me. I mean, I was mad. It was like, fuck. Like, they don't think I can play or they don't like me. But for guys that I know that got recruited by them, like, they were
I can see that. And it was a great time, man. And, you know, to be a part of such an iconic team and to have that type of influence on younger players. And, you know, I hear from people that were in the military, they were based around the world somewhere and they were watching the game and they had They had cats that were from Detroit who were Michigan fans, and they were fighting and shit. You know, it's all kind of stuff. But, you know, just to be a part of something that iconic was something else.
It's like y'all made the Fab Five.
Yeah, because all of them wanted to play at Illinois. They all told me that.
What y'all did at Illinois created them.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Because all of them, to a man, will tell you they wanted to play at Illinois. Big Nook, you know, I think they had a visitor or something, changed his mind. But, you know, Big Nook wanted to come to Illinois and end up going up to Michigan.
You know what? You're right. Because he told us the story. You're absolutely right. He did want to go to Illinois. Yes, sir. Yes,
good
sir.
Times.
So, man, we thank you for that, man, because that just, it gave the younger generation that came up after you guys, man, it gave us something to dream and hope for. Because you got to remember, we didn't see it.
Yep.
You know, prior to that, it was DePaul, but it was Mark Aguirre and those guys, and they were just, you know, too old really for us to kind of understand it. But that Flyin Illini team said, man, because you got to remember, even prior to that, the only things we really saw was like Georgetown. Because, you know, and they had the shoes. And that's why you like Georgetown. Like, man,
Yep.
But you guys, man, it changed the landscape of college basketball in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois. But man, we want to move into your draft. You get drafted, the 41st pick, Atlanta Hawks. What was that like?
Well, draft night was interesting because my sister and brother-in-law used to live in Tampa, Florida. So my parents, my brother, my sister, and my brother-in-law were all in Tampa the day of the draft. And I'm nervous because my agent's telling me I can go anywhere from the late first round to the late second round. The Sacramento Kings, the Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers, all those teams were very interested. So I go to the mall. I'm trying to kill time, trying not to be nervous. Then me and my brother-in-law start drinking to the point where I saw the number 5 pick in the draft, and I passed out. Once I saw Kendall get drafted, I passed out. Right? and the whole draft is going on, and all of a sudden, I forgot my boy Reggie was there. God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but my best friend Reggie was there. So I see Kendall get drafted, and I just pass out. Next thing I know, I'm getting, hey, man, you got to get up, man. Get in the shower, dude. You get ready to get a call. You just got drafted. I didn't even see myself get drafted.
Oh, wow.
Man, I was drunk, man. And they put me in the shower to get me, you know, kind of bring me back up because they knew the Atlanta Hawks were getting ready to call me. So, you know, Pete Babcock, the general manager for the Hawks, hey, Steven, how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right, man. You know, he's like, hey, man, you know, we're happy to draft you and all this. We'll come back with the particulars, but welcome to the Atlanta Hawks. I'm like, I appreciate it. I'm trying to muster up some energy, man. As soon as I hung up the phone, I passed out again. That was my draft night.
Again.
So every draft day, every year, I send out a video telling those guys that have a chance to get drafted, don't drink too much because you don't want to miss the time that you get drafted being hungover and passed out.
Right.
Now, Steven, did you work out with any teams before?
No, I didn't do that because I wasn't going to be considered an early to mid, or I was considered a late first round possibility. And so back then they didn't really bring a lot of guys in. Me and Brian Oliver from Georgia Tech were we were very similarly compared. And so he got guaranteed money at 36 to Philadelphia. I got partial money at 41 to Atlanta. So it was a nip and tuck. But no, I didn't work out with anybody before I got drafted.
But your post-career, it's just been phenomenal.
Thank you for that.
I mean, just like I say, I mean, from your broadcasting to, and just even the story leading up to it. I guess my question would be is, man, how did that happen? Because oftentimes collegiate athletes don't really get the opportunity, not necessarily to go into broadcasting, but to like facilitate it while they're in school. How were you able to facilitate this into your dream?
I had a radio interview my sophomore year with Lou Henson and Dick Vitale. And Lou knew that I wanted to go on a broadcast. So he said, come on with me. We're going to jump on this radio interview. So I do the radio interview with Coach Henson and Dick Vitale. And back then you had to call in from phone lines to do a radio interview. So the phone lines are still open.
Yep.
And Dick Vitale says, Bardo, you did a great job, man. What do you want to do when you finish playing basketball? I said, Dick, I want your job. Him and Lou Henson were laughing. I wasn't laughing. I was dead serious. So my dad heard the interview. Here's my dad again, William. He said, write a letter to ESPN thanking them for the opportunity to come on and do the radio interview, that you're a broadcast journalism major, and that you'd like to look into opportunities when you finish your eligibility and you graduate. I send a letter off. Don't think nothing of it. Must have been too many 40 ounces or something. I don't know. I go back to my mailbox. I got a letter.
Right.
And I'm looking at it, and it says from the president of ABC Sports. Now, at the time, I didn't know ABC owned ESPN, but I got a letter from the president of ABC
like
Sports.
All of us.
So I opened up the letter, and it says, Stephen, I got your letter. You did a great job on the radio interview. Thank you for your letter. We will be coming to Illinois to cover the USC-Illinois football game in September. I'd love to meet you there, and let's talk. Signed, Dennis Swanson.
Wow.
Fast forward that September, I meet Dennis. And again, I don't know if I'm drinking too much or what. It hadn't clicked in yet. So then we walk into this television truck. And I walk in first, and I got a duck, and I come in, and cats are cussing, and they're going at each other and all that because it's live television. They got to hit deadlines. I walk in and move to the side. Dennis Swanson walks in the truck. Folks' backs got straight, eyes got big, language changed, the whole nine. And it finally hit me. I said, man, I'm in here with the president of ABC Sports, man. I must be all right. Right? And so the cat's talking to me during the football game. He's like, you know, I was a manager here. I said, you were a manager where? He said, I was a basketball manager for the University of Illinois. I said, oh, I had no idea. So we left the meeting, and I said, Dennis, do you mind if I stay in touch with you? I have aspirations to play professionally, but I want to stay in touch with you throughout my career. He said, sure. So when I was overseas, I sent a letter every 6 months or 4 months. When Ryan Baker got married in New York City, and we went out that night and got drunk as a skunk, and I'm cobwebs, cottonmouth. I get a call. Dennis Swanson said, hey, Stephen, I got your note. Can you be down there in 30 minutes? I was down there in 25. And so then when I finished playing in Japan, my first job was University of Illinois men's basketball, radio. He saw what I was doing. He fired a guy at CBS 2 Chicago, put me in as a sports reporter with no experience because he knew he wanted me on the national level with college basketball, but he thought CBS sports reporting, me getting my reporting chops, would push me over the top. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that he is the reason why I got into this business and have gotten the opportunities. Now, I had to work on it. I had to be good, but we're all good. Black people, when they put their mind to something, are usually pretty good, right? And we
absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
And much love to the president of ABC, but man, again, your dad.
He dropped them dimes, wasn't he?
Man, every time you needed an assist, he was like, catch this one.
Do this. Try this. Think about this.
Wow.
Go talk to this cat. Yeah. No, I mean, and it opened up this world of sports broadcast that I'm in now.
Hey, but you know what like you said, having your dad, but you also knew in college that this is something that you would want to do when you got through playing. Most guys, even when they get through playing overseas, let alone them in college and whatever they taking, they still don't know what they want to do while they in college. So after, even after post career, a lot of guys have trouble finding that next, that next hoop dream. Man, what am I gonna do? What interests me? What talent do I have? What skill can I give? And your story, man, it's just
That's right.
find out what you love to do early. That's what I tell these kids now. Find out other than your sport of basketball that you love and you want to commit to every day. Outside of that, who else are you? What else can you bring to the table? Have you tapped into your talent, your skill, other things that you didn't even know that you were interested in? That's how you're gonna be able to find your post career.
Here's a nugget I want to drop on this show because I know you guys get a lot of hoopers that listen to you. For all you young people, young ladies, young men who are hoopers or whatever, take the Myers-Briggs test. It's free. It's online. Myers-Briggs. It's a personality test. And you go through, it's multiple choice. It's probably 36 to 40 questions. And in 5 to 10 minutes, you'll have a very good idea of what your personality is. Right. Mine was PR media. That's what my Myers-Briggs came out and said that I'm a gregarious, I can talk, I'm a communicator. That's a free test that anybody can take. So all the basketball players that I try to work with that show interest or whatever and getting into something else outside of basketball, I have them take a Myers-Briggs test because whatever that says, that's what your personality will lend itself to. So look at opportunities in this area. And it's a great tool and it's free.
I like that. Myers-Briggs, please.
Yeah.
Go give that assessment. Jump on it.
Yeah. Well, we got one more question and two more questions. We want to get your thoughts on the NIL situation.
Too damn late.
Hey, that about sums it up. That about
too damn late.
Okay, that's about.
You know what I'm saying?
Moving on to the next question.
Let me give y'all an example. Okay. So I played 10 years of pro ball.
Please do.
But I may have been more valuable as a member of the Flyin Illini as I was making money overseas. Because think about this now. In our Final Four year alone, we generated from the end of the regular season to the end of the Final Four, we generated $6 million in T-shirt sales alone for the university. We got none of that. They had our name, they had our numbers on those T-shirts. We got none of that.
Absolutely.
Now, if we had NIL back then and we were the Flyin Illini, most of us, Kenny. No, Kenny would have been a millionaire because he was the most popular athlete since Dyke Edelman at Illinois. He would have been a millionaire, but a lot of us would have been 100,000aires in college had NIL been around. So to me, it was too late. I'm glad the players are having a chance to make some money on their name, image, and likeness. But here's the kicker, y'all. They can't wear anything that says their school.
Yep.
Ain't that some shit?
Right.
Exactly.
Now
they can use the school colors, but they can't have any hints of University of Illinois, Marquette. You know, Arthur, where'd you go again?
Arkansas State.
Nothing Arkansas State. Can't be anything like that on there. Although I'm bringing you millions, wearing the name, but I can't utilize the name, just the name.
Just the name.
I can't utilize the name, and the programs aren't paying, they're paying zero. They're still making all the money. But they don't like players having options.
Yeah.
Because the college athletes and the college system is on the back of black athletes. Here's why I say this. All the Olympic sports and some of the admissions costs come from the athletic department.
Yep.
There's only two programs that make money in athletic departments. That's football and men's basketball. It's a rare situation. You might have South Carolina has women's basketball, Tennessee, UConn have women's basketball that make money. Some universities have programs, baseball programs that make a little bit of money, but for the majority of it, it's football and men's basketball. So the black athlete not only pays for golf, tennis, wrestling, gymnastics, all these other Olympic sports, they're also funding some of the university
So the fact that these greedy dudes
Absolutely.
in the NCAA office that make $1 billion a year off of the March Madness alone don't want the people that help generate the profit to profit from it. What system does that sound like to y'all?
Absolutely.
We know it. Slavery.
Call it what it is.
Modern day slavery.
I won't go as far as slavery because they ain't whipping us on the back. They're not raping our women.
Well, it depends on what it depends on what coach you get.
But it could be considered indentured servitude, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. It's immorally wrong. So I get real hot on this topic. But I'm glad that it's here now.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, though. It's interesting that you say that because I remember when we were in college, man. Malcolm X movie came out, and as a team, we went and saw it, and we would get together, and we used to really sincerely ask ourselves, are we the house?
Mm-hmm.
It's a legitimate question.
You know what I mean? We wasn't in the fields, but we in the house. So I mean, you know, it's so crazy that you bringing that up, man. But you're right. It is too late. But man, we want to get you out of here, but we gotta. Agee got another question for you. I got this question for you here, man. Tell our listeners, what is Bardo's Breakdown and where can they find it at?
Bardo's Breakdown is on Facebook. Just type in Bardo's Breakdown. If you want to be on the inner tribe, the inside, because I have a group that's called Bardo's Breakdown Group on Facebook. And you can also text me to 312-847-2739. I have a online thing that I do as well through a community. So there's a couple different ways you can join, but go to Bardo's Breakdown because I got my show at 6:00 tonight. That's why I'm going to jump off with y'all because I got to do some stuff before that. But I have a great time with Bardo's Breakdown. We talk a lot of college basketball, and then when the NBA playoffs roll around, the NBA offseason, we talk about that as well.
Absolutely. And what is your handle so people can find you on social media?
My handle is generally Stephen Bardo, STEPHEN BARDO. You can find me there on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Bardo Media is the other one. So either Stephen Bardo or Bardo Media. You can find me anywhere on those.
Well, this is my last question, but I'm going to just throw this out here at ESPN. I like a show for our Illinois Steven to go at that New York Steven. Steven versus Steven. I'm just putting that out there. Ian. ESPN, just give me my 2%.
Now, you know how Chi-Town does New York. We whoop them every time.
We whoop them every time.
We whoop them every time.
Hey, man, you and that dude, I can see y'all going at it every day. But my last question to you, man, is what's the next chapter in Stephen Bardo's hoop dream?
What I really want to do is train 1,000 Black broadcasters to come into this business in the next decade. So that's my next thing, because to whom much is given, much is expected. I've been given a ton. I've shared some of that with you guys.
Yes.
Now it's time for me to pour into somebody else, to pour into these young people. And I want to be intentional about Black people, because I'm not to the exclusion of anybody. I'll take anybody, but I'm going to focus on our young people, because that's where I think the greatest need is. Because I'm with networks that say, oh, we struggle to find Black talent. Bullshit. No, you don't. You ain't looking. You know, I sit back and I get paid well and I love what I do, but that can't be it. That's not going to be it. I got to serve. So the next thing for me is to train the next generation of Black sportscasters.
Well, man, we want to thank you for being on the show. This was, man, special in every way possible. We got Stephen Bardo, Flyin Illini, great on the Hoop Dreams podcast. Man, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for blessing us.
No, thank you guys. You guys are trailblazers. I'm glad that you're doing this, because you opened up our eyes to the possibilities of media talking about our stories. You guys are one of the first. So thank you. I feel blessed to be on with you guys. Thank you so much.
I'm the goat of my era. I've been a trending topic. I'm as fly as a feather. My pocket's macroscopic. See, with time I get better. I'm always in the action, kid. Know I got it locked from Chicago, where the toughest live. Concrete jungle, earn my stripes on the pavement there. You make it here, then you can make it anywhere. no comparison. Your game is embarrassing. No one can touch me, I'm all for going there again. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me.
Hoop Dreams the podcast, an Unlearning Network production. Written and produced by Arthur Agee, Will Gates, Matt Hoffer, with audio engineering from Matt Savage. For more episodes, check us out at www.unlearningnetwork.com.
Gotta be a dog to survive in this cold weather. Ice in my veins, no need for a warm sweater. I'm coming for it all, best believe I won't let up, yeah. Hey, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah.